It's the Texas weather discussion video for Friday, the 6th of April. I'm Donovan Neal. We deal with the risk for some strong to severe thunderstorms with a strong cold front coming through this evening. And as a result of that strong cold front, some places could have unprecedented lows for this time of the year. Some places could actually see some freezing temperatures. For parts of North Texas, and some places could actually see some freezing rain or some light sleet just to the west of us. And so, how will this stack up? How severe will the convection be? And will we see some freezing, some wintry mix? Hopefully, we'll be able to answer all of your questions. Let's take a look at the upper air look across the nation this morning. Of course, we have that troughing rotating in Canada, helping to bring some Gulf air mainly to our area in North Texas, and we'll definitely see that with the radar image this morning. So a couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms moving off to the east, just to the east of McKinney, just to the east of Plano. And the one thing that's interesting about this is we're not seeing an outflow boundary being produced by those storms. So the severe weather risk this evening won't be stronger than it already is. And here are the temperatures early this morning. We're mostly in the 60s, mid to upper 60s. Some places even in the 70s, just to the west of Johnson County. It's reporting 70 degrees right there. And most of the cold air remains, of course, to the north of us, mainly in the Minnesota-Wisconsin area, where they're in the teens. And again, we'll see a blast of cold air Saturday morning, mainly Saturday morning, with that strong cold front coming through this evening. And here are the convective outlooks for today. This is the convective outlook for today. We have the risk for severe weather defined for mainly the central part of North Texas, extending towards Birmingham, Alabama. And that standard risk, actually that enhanced risk, includes places to the west of Longview, Texas, around Mississippi, and that standard risk includes the DFW metro area along the I-35 corridor and extending to places towards the east. And again, we'll have to watch and see if we see a cluster of thunderstorms along that cold front, along the strong cold front that's coming through. Well, to get more specific, here's the hail outlook coming off from the SPC, and you can see that there's basically a 20% chance that we'll see some significant hail, which is hail up to 2 inches in diameter, within 25 miles of any given point within this map, within this region. That's what the black lines mean. And keep in mind that this is more of a conditional risk, and we'll just have to wait and see if we can get storms going ahead of the cold front. That's what it all depends to. This is the tornado outlook, and of course, the greater tornado probabilities stay in the enhanced risk zone. But here in DFW, again, it's more of a conditional threat. If we can get enough vertical shear. And if we can get enough vertical shear at that time, we'll most likely see some severe storms trying to rotate. Now enhance the hail threat. But for day 2, which is tomorrow, we'll see that risk shift to the east, and that standard slight risk zone in the Florida Panhandle extending into the eastern Carolinas. This is the average rainfall for the next 7 days. Most of the rain stays in the Pacific Northwest. Amounts here could be up to half an inch of rain to about an inch of rain to the east of us in North Texas. But down here, it won't be a flooding event, and most of this rain for this week will basically come today. It will basically come this evening. So let's talk about it. Here's the GFS. This is the O6Z run valid today at 1 o'clock. We have troughing to the north of us, and down here, I do think during the early afternoon hours, at around noon and 1 o'clock, I think we'll deal with the risk for some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. In fact, let's take a look at the high resolution rapid refresh model at noon, and you can see that we have some scattered showers We have scattered showers mainly to the east of us, widely scattered showers at that point. But here's the main event at 7 o'clock today, and you can see that most of the convection is basically in the Louisiana Mississippi area. Though we do have a cluster of a supercell, we do have a cluster of storms along the cold front, and it doesn't really show any development of severe storms ahead of the cold front. So the overall severe weather risk is less because of that. And we'll check the CIN, which is basically the cap, and you can see the cap is eroded at that point. So we won't have any trouble seeing some thunderstorms developing along the cold front this afternoon. And here's what you've all been waiting for. How severe will the severe weather be? Here's the MU CAPE, the most unstable CAPE, valid at that same time, or 7 o'clock. And you can see that most of the values are ranged between 4,000 to 4,500 joules per kilograms for the North Texas region. For the North Texas region, and again, these are amounts that, and again, with high amounts, or these amounts are the highest that's been all year. But we'll check the bulk shear values, and the bulk shear values are a little off to the east in Louisiana. They're not really that high in the North Texas area, and as a result, I think we'll see the severe weather. I think we'll see a lesser severe weather risk here in North Texas, other than the storms in the line itself. Here's the Energy Helicity Index, and you can see that most of the maxed out values are just to the south, just to the southeast of us, where they have amounts around 8 to 12 units in the extreme southeast corner of Texas. And again, that's obviously sufficient for some severe weather that could try to come out. And here's the most important model of them all, the STP, the Significant Tornado Parameter, and that's peaking out near around a 3 or 4. That's peaking out conditionally near 3 or 4, in some places around the Texas-Louisiana border, and that's obviously sufficient for. That's obviously sufficient for severe weather, especially the risk for a few tornadoes. But what I've seen in the past is with these strong cold fronts is that usually with these strong cold fronts, with any thunderstorm that tries to rotate, they usually get undercut by the cold air, and they usually die out pretty quickly. So I think the tornado risk won't be as strong within with this severe weather risk, but I do think a brief spin up or two will definitely be possible, especially in the DFW metro, with any storms that decide to go out, that decide to develop along the cold front. And here's the a maximum updraft helicity. This basically shows us where the greater probability of where the storms are more likely to produce some updrafts and rotate. And you can see most of it is maximized in northern Louisiana. So I think the main threat, and again, we'll put this threat map here. I think the main threat main window for severe thunderstorms to occur will basically come around 6 p.m., around 6 to 10 p.m. Around 6 to 10 p.m. This afternoon and evening into the overnight hours. And of course, the main threats will be damaging winds and large hail. Some of that could be very large hail at times, with hailstones exceeding 2 inches, and also an isolated small tornado can't be ruled out, as we do have just a little bit of some directional shear. So after that, we will remain quiet during the overnight hours. But we do want to point out, during the overnight hours, as a result of that cold front, we fall into the freezing zone. So growers beware here. Here's the NAM. The temperatures are in the NAM for around 10 o'clock on Saturday has temperatures coming out in the mid 30s, and places to the north of us, just to the north of us, along the Red River, has temperatures in the below freezing in most spots. And of course, this is an unprecedented cold front that could bring a late season freeze here. So growers beware. And in addition to that, here's the NAM at 9 o'clock. It's basically showing a chance of freezing rain for parts of our area, especially just for areas just to the west of us. So regardless of where you are in North Texas, be sure that you prepare for at least a light freeze in some places in North Texas. If most places don't receive a freeze, most places in North Texas should be prepared for a light freeze at the very least. But for the rest of the day on Sunday, I think we'll be dry for the rest of the day. The sun should clear out. Highs should be in the low 70s. Monday, we'll start to see some moisture start to return once again from the Gulf of Mexico. We'll start to see some moisture. We'll introduce the chance for a few widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, but I think the most of the day will be filled with a mix of sun and clouds. Highs should be in the mid 70s. Tuesday, that clears out. We should be sunny with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Same thing on Wednesday, and same thing on Thursday. We'll be partly cloudy with highs in the mid 80s. Will significantly warm up. Here's a week from today, Friday the 13th of April. We have troughing. We have troughing in the Central Plains, and we have a surface low just in the Nebraska-Iowa border. And if that were to verify, that could be a potential severe weather look for the parts of the Midwest right there. But down here, I do think we'll remain dry with highs in the low 80s. Here's the end of the 10-day forecast period. This is Sunday the 15th of April. We have troughing just to the north of us, and down here we still remain dry. But you can see for the numbers for the next 15 days, we do get hit with that cold air by Saturday. It only has us going into the low 50s on Saturday, and after that we basically warm through Friday, April 13th, and going into late April, I do think we'll stay in the 70-degree range. That's it for the Texas weather discussion video for today. I'll have more notes in the blog. My next video here should be posted at around 7 a.m. Monday morning. Jonathan Williams, the guy who plays euphonium, should have the blog updates covered this weekend. If you can, catch your local TV stations on the air at 4, 5, 6, and 10. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and a great weekend, and Godspeed.